Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
What could be so disturbing that even Diddy's own daughters couldn't bear to watch? That's the question haunting the halls of a Manhattan federal courtroom. What started as a routine day in the high-profile trial against Sean Diddy Combs quickly morphed into something far more personal and irreversible. For the first time, his daughters, Chance, Delila, and Jessie, appeared in court, seated solemnly in the front row beside their brother, Justin. But less than an hour later, all three girls were seen sobbing and fleeing the room. What played on that courtroom screen that caused such devastation? Before the chaos, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation. Reporters jockeyed for camera angles, sketch artists hunched over their pads, and protesters gathered outside, holding signs that read, "Justice for the victims." Inside, the air was heavy. All seats were taken. Then, Cassie Ventura stepped onto the witness stand. Her testimony was calm, controlled, but what she said shook the room to its core.
She was going to be with someone in this music industry that was going to help her career, that cared about her, but quickly learned after the freak-offs that wasn't the case. And what I thought was also interesting is she said that after that first freak-off, she said she felt dirty. She didn't want to do it. And when she brought up the idea of having a conversation about the freak-offs in an email, which the jurors saw, she said she backpedaled in the email because Combs responded by saying, "I know, you don't want to do it." And she said, "Oh no, well, it's not that." But that was the beginning. That was in 2010, where she brings up in an email that she wanted to have a conversation about this. And in her words, she didn't want to do it, but she felt like she had to do it.
Gosh, it's so difficult to hear all of these details. And since taking the stand, Cassie has been emotional. What made Cassie emotional on the stand?
I think what made Cassie emotional is having to describe the details of the freak-off and why she did it. When she talked about wanting to do it to please Sean Combs, that's when she broke down. Up until that point, she had just been answering the questions. She's a little soft-spoken at times, but that's when she got emotional.
"I met Sean in 2005, she began, her voice steady. "I was 19, just signed to Bad Boy Records. He promised to make me a star. But what I got wasn't fame. It was a trap." She described how, a year into their relationship, Diddy introduced her to what he called a freak-off. Not a party, not a performance. A ritual of complete control. Voyeurism, manipulation, power. Cassie explained these events were choreographed by Diddy himself, from lighting and outfits to actions and substances. He allegedly dictated everything: the music, the clothes, the people, even the amount of baby oil to apply so their bodies would gleam under the lights he selected. Refusal? Not an option. According to Cassie, he threatened her. She said she had to find people through Craigslist, escort services, and coordinate travel for these private events, many lasting days at a time. She felt she had no escape. The freak-offs, Cassie explained, weren't random. They were scheduled, sometimes multiple times a week. She spoke about sleepless nights, of being pushed beyond her limits, and how Diddy allegedly justified everything under the guise of pushing boundaries. Each gathering blurred the line between fantasy and nightmare, glamour and degradation. She continued, "I remember once I hadn't slept in over 2 days. He told me exhaustion was part of the transformation. If I wanted to succeed in his world, I had to submit to it completely." The trial reached a boiling point when Cassie's attorney requested to show a video from 2018 labeled the White Party Archive. The footage, Cassie claimed, was from one of the notorious freak-offs. The screen flickered to life. Neon lights, a seaside mansion, crowds of celebrities blurred in motion. What began as a glamorous scene quickly took a sinister turn, blurred faces engaging in acts that silenced the room. Then, the image that tore the courtroom apart: Kim Porter. Delila gasped, Jessie froze. Chance covered her mouth, her eyes wide with horror. The video showed their late mother in a dazed, near-unconscious state. Kim's image wasn't just shocking, it was an accusation. Diddy snapped. He slammed the table and shouted, "Stop the video now, my children are here." But the damage was already done. Delila and Jessie fled the room sobbing, their cries echoing down the hallway like a ghost no one could escape. Was Kim Porter just another guest or another victim? Rumors had long surrounded Kim's death in 2018, officially ruled pneumonia, but this footage raised terrifying questions. Why was she there? What was her condition? Was she involved willingly or ensnared in something she never signed up for?
You seen how Albie Shore, he came out saying that Kim Porter death needs to be looked into?
I think that Al being his ex-wife, he have every right, knowing about the stuff that came out about Diddy and what he was doing. You understand what he has done in the past, and people have overlooked it. By him coming out and saying that he hoped that he could get her case reopened. There was a guy called John Paperwork, the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll Be Sure doing this is showing that, you know, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth because allegedly Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia.
Chance and Justin remained in the room. Their expressions didn't flinch. Some say they had already seen the footage. Others believe they orchestrated its reveal. Whispers suggest Justin may have leaked the video, that he plotted to expose his father's darkest secrets, not for justice, but for power. Justin, Diddy's oldest son, is known for his steely demeanor and loyalty to the family legacy. But those close to him say he carries deep scars. His childhood, a chess game. Each move calculated, every scandal silenced. He learned to play his father's game, and maybe, just maybe, he decided it was time to flip the board. As for Chance, she was always the outsider, not Kim Porter's daughter, raised on the fringes of affection. When the media painted Diddy as a doting father, Chance often found herself in the background, watching, waiting, wondering. In the weeks leading up to the trial, sources say Justin approached Chance with a quiet warning. Do you really know who Dad is? He didn't push. He planted seeds. And when Cassie's legal team received the anonymous submission of the White Party video, speculation soared. Cassie told the court that Diddy kept a private archive of these freak-offs. He called them insurance. Videos to use against anyone who defied him. She said he threatened her more than once, promising to leak footage if she ever left, to ruin her. Kim was trapped just like me, Cassie said, her voice catching. We weren't complicit. We were controlled. Diddy's attorney tried to paint Cassie as a willing participant, someone who lived in luxury, traveled the world, and benefited from Diddy's fame, but Cassie didn't flinch. What I got wasn't luxury, she said. It was survival. The jury? Silent. Some with their heads bowed, others staring forward, frozen. Outside, social media exploded. Kim Porter truth and Achia Diddy secrets trended globally. Some praised Cassie's bravery, others focused on the family dynamic unraveling in real time. Why did Kim Porter's children show up exactly on the day the video was played? Coincidence or calculation? Some believe Justin and Chance planned it all, that they wanted Delila and Jesse to see the truth for themselves, not just hear it, witness it. Whether this was an act of justice, revenge, or desperation, one thing became clear. The image of Kim Porter in that video shattered something far bigger than Diddy's public image. It fractured a family. And what about Kim's legacy? A woman known for strength and grace, now remembered not just as a model or mother, but as a silent figure in a courtroom video. Her children were forced to re-experience trauma under fluorescent lights and media scrutiny. Their grief was not private. It became part of the trial's spectacle. In the court of public opinion, things grew even more complicated. Some supporters of Diddy argued the footage was edited. Others questioned the timing of the daughter's arrival. Was it a legal trap? Or did someone inside the inner circle want to watch it all burn? Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that more videos existed, a vault of footage documenting years of freak-offs. Cassie hinted at it, lawyers alluded to it, and Diddy's legal team? Silent, perhaps waiting, or perhaps scrambling. And if Kim Porter's video was just one of many, who else might appear in the footage? What other secrets might spill into the courtroom? Speculation reached a fever pitch when an unnamed source close to the prosecution claimed there were over a dozen unreleased tapes, each more disturbing than the last. While these tapes haven't been confirmed, the mere possibility rattled those following the case. Meanwhile, Cassie continued her testimony. I wasn't just a participant, I was a puppet, she said. He pulled every string.
What she was responsible for was finding these escorts, using Craigslist, some of these other escort services, helping them travel to certain locations from Miami to Ibiza, to New York, to LA, to Las Vegas, and that she worked with Combs's business travel people in order to move people around, saying that they would project that they were potential employers and getting them to move. But she said that he had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak-offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles, it then moved to studio lighting, that he was directing how they moved from each action of each act in these freak-offs, and even the amount of baby oil that they were wearing. She said that he wanted them to be glistening, and so he would often encourage them to put on more baby oil.
She detailed how her communications were monitored, how her friendships were filtered through Diddy's approval, and how she often felt like a prisoner in designer clothes. The audience listened in stunned silence as she recalled being isolated from her family, denied basic autonomy, and punished for questioning anything. Then came the mention of substances. He kept a bag, always. He told me what to take, how much, and when. I didn't even question it after a while. I just obeyed. Even more chilling was her claim that these events were filmed for more than just leverage. He told me it was art, that what we were doing would be remembered. And now that so-called art plays out in a courtroom for the world to judge. Back in the hallway outside the courtroom, Delila and Jesse wept into each other's arms. Chance stood apart, unmoving. Justin leaned against the wall, eyes cold and unreadable. Inside, Diddy sat with his head bowed, his empire crumbling around him. In the end, this isn't just a trial, it's a reckoning. Diddy's empire, once seen as untouchable, now trembles under the weight of secrets buried in shadows. And as this trial unfolds, the question that remains isn't just whether he's guilty. It's this: how much power does one man need before everyone around him starts to break? And when the cameras stop flashing and the verdict is in, what truth will be left standing? Because sometimes the real story isn't the one you hear in court. It's the one hidden in the silence after the screams.